People are blaming the crippling DRM that is implemented into software that is made for both the PC and gaming consoles on two things, and one of them I wholeheartedly agree with. The first one is piracy. Piracy has been a problem for ages, and it's theft. Whether you're making copies of movies or game software, or you're illegally downloading game software or movies from BitTorrent or wherever, it's just as wrong and just as illegal as if you went into a store and stole something, if you shoplifted. But the other reason that people say that there is tons of DRM in game software, yeah, I have a different take on it, and that is the used games industry. People are comparing used games to legalized piracy. They say that anyone that purchases a used game is turning their back on both the developer and publisher. And now, to counter all this, the game consoles now have DRM as well. So take a trip with me, if you will. Up on the screen right now, it's been there since the beginning of the video, is a BlackBerry Curve. I just purchased this phone about 3 weeks ago from a friend who had Sprint and canceled his account. He had the phone laying around brand spanking new, and he sold it to me for a really good price, $50. Would he be considered a thief or someone promoting piracy because he sold me the phone, and in turn, I bought the phone from him instead of going to RIM, the corporation that develops Blackberries? Would you consider me a pirate for getting the phone from him and not going to RIM themselves, which in turn means they did not profit from this transaction? No, you wouldn't. I purchased the car I now have used. It's a 2000 Subaru, and I purchased it from an independent dealer. Would you say I'm a thief because I didn't buy a new car from Subaru and they didn't profit from the used car I bought from this car dealer? Would you say the car dealer is promoting piracy because they're not selling new cars from Subaru that Subaru directly profits from, and instead they sold a car they legally bought at an auction and resold it to me? I can tell you right now, you wouldn't call them pirates. Let's face it, the same could be said for anything used. So if you're against used games, you need to be against used anything. Used cell phones, used laptops, used refrigerators. Because if you're buying used, you're not supporting the actual corporation that developed it. So if you have that anti-used game mentality, that means you need to hate places like Amazon, like Craigslist, like eBay. If you really feel that way, places like that should be outlawed. Because virtually everything they sell, eBay and Craigslist especially, is used. And again, the corporations that develop those products that are being resold used are not seeing any more money from those transactions. So that means that any used products that you have in your home that you've outgrown and want to get something newer and better should not be resold. You shouldn't put them on eBay. You shouldn't sell them to your friend, because what you're doing is promoting piracy, right? Yeah, it feels and sounds a lot different when I'm not talking about video games. Now, I know a lot of people are going to get angry at this video and send me links and say, look how little money developers are making, and you don't understand how much it's hurting the industry, and do you want your favorite game developers to go out of business? DRM is necessary to protect their profits and intellectual properties. Okay, let's go back to cell phones for a second. Imagine you go out and spend $200 of your hard-earned money on a cell phone that now has firmware built into it that once you deactivate your account and are no longer with that cell phone provider, the phone bricks itself, so it cannot be resold. Would you still be as eager to quote-unquote purchase that phone that you don't have the freedom to legally do what you want with just because the developer of the phone wants to maximize their profits? Would you be as eager to purchase a Vizio television knowing that once you wanted to move on to a new HD TV that the company would not allow you to resell the product and you would have to give the product back to Vizio even though you legally purchased it and are supposed to own the TV outright? I think a lot of people would change their mind about Vizio. Every product in existence, minus food, has been resold used. And every industry out there, whether it be electronics, software, clothes, has thrived and continues to thrive even though their older products are resold and they don't profit from the product being resold. The BS propaganda that's going around about the used game market is just that. It's propaganda. It's an excuse to cripple the piece of software you bought with your hard-earned money by implementing DRM, and they are punishing you for buying a used copy that was once new, purchased by someone else, and that person simply just got sick of the game, it was collecting dust on their shelf, and they wanted to make a couple bucks off of it. How dare they do that with their legally owned copy of the game? It's not like they were making illegal copies of it and giving it to GameStop. I understand that developers are not getting as much money as they should. Publishers are taking too much money, and that people want to get paid for the work that they do. But to stifle the freedom of the consumer because they're looking to maximize their profits and pretend that they are the only industry that has to deal with their products being resold used is absolutely ridiculous. They are filling your head with a bunch of crap and trying to make you feel guilty for something that you are legally allowed to do. Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to go use my used BlackBerry here that the corporation and developers did not see any money from because I'm a cell phone pirate. Have a good one.